I'm working on a project that requires a reclaimed wood mantel. And while this piece of wood may be old, it doesn't really have the old reclaimed barnwood beam style that the project requires. So today I'm going to show you how I would go about taking this piece of wood and giving it kind of that old character that you might see from a reclaimed piece of barnwood that's 250 years old. One of my favorite tools to use for something like this is an angle grinder with a flap disc. This one's a little bit toast because I've used it so much, but a flap disc is just kind of a stack of rough grit sandpaper like this. And you can really take a lot of material. You can kind of use it to carve shapes and different things. So it's really good for tackling one of the major problems with this piece of wood, and that is that it's just two-dimensional. An old barnwood beam would be rounded over from years of being bumped into and hit and banged on and all that stuff. So the fact that this board is still very rectangular really takes away some of that authenticity. So one of the first things that I do is just take a series of different hammers and different objects and just beat the heck out of the edges so that it's got dents and dings and just doesn't have that rectangular uniformity. I also use some chisels and different little pry bars and tools to kind of chip away and take out some chunks of wood. When you're thinking about a piece of barnwood, you're thinking about livestock and animals that like to gnaw on edges of wood and chew on things. So there'd be chunks and things missing out of it. And there'd be years of nails and things that have been driven into the wood over the years to hang things and to hold things. And there's no markings in this wood at all. So I just used a bunch of nails to bang into it and bend them over and pry them back out and create holes and divots and texture and character. And lastly, one of the best tools that you can use is a series of wire brushes and wire wheels. And these work really well for getting in between the fibers of the wood, and you can take away some of that sapwood and create those waves and those undulating textures in the wood that really gives it kind of an old, worn vibe. And you can just play with it a little bit until you get something that you like. I mean, you're really just aging and beating up a piece of wood, so there's no real wrong answers. And then after you lightly sand it and apply some stain and some finish, you end up with a very authentically looking old piece of barnwood that maybe didn't start that way, but through beating the heck out of it, it looks great.